Hey, sound now? Thank you very much, B1. All right, guys. So I want to share what I shared to start. How are you doing? Welcome in, Glavinator. In order for you to truly become unstoppable, you're going to have to be unstoppable. You're going to have to be unstoppable in your mindset. You're going to have to be unstoppable in your behaviors. You must establish the repetition that says, I'm going to show up. I'm going to continue to show up. There are 4 key principles to discipline. They're going to be repetition, patience, consistency, and perseverance. Repetition is the first one for a reason. If you can't just get up and continue to get up, hit it. If you can't continue to just show up on a regular basis, regardless of what the performance is, regardless of how good you are, regardless of what level you're at or what your knowledge is, until you learn the repetition of just doing it because it needs to be done, doing it because it's the thing that's going to lead you to your goal, until you establish that ability to understand, to become unstoppable, you must first start, then it's going to be difficult to get to the next level. But thank you so much, guys, for being in here. Thank you, everyone, for joining this midday. Thank you for coming in to share, guys. And if you want to, as you drop in, go ahead, take a moment. Let me know where you're checking in from. Let me know what time of day it is where you are. It's great to have you guys here. I truly enjoy having one be a part of the process. I want to say what we're talking about right now. This isn't new. This This is by no way no 12:03. All right, so you're here on the East Coast. I am also on the East Coast of the United States. My wife and I, we live in the DMV, so DC, Maryland, Virginia, and Delaware. We live in this area. We've been in this area for quite a while. We were both born and mostly raised in this area, primarily in Maryland, a lot of family. So it's good to be here. I'm glad for having the opportunity we've moved away, but I'm glad to have an opportunity to return and have the ability to raise our children in this space as well. So there's a lot to glean from it. But what I want to do, usually I come on, guys, and I want to offer Winchester. Where's Winchester at? What state is that in? So there's a lot of things that I usually come on and talk about. Usually I come on and I'm like, I want to offer motivation. I want to encourage. I'm really a big rah-rah guy. Very into sports. Have been so my entire life. Worked as a personal trainer for a number of years. So I'm really big into motivation and encouragement and come on, you can do it, and breaking down barriers and becoming stronger and doing more with our life. That's a really big thing for me. One of the things that's interesting is now at this point, what's starting to happen and where I'm starting to go now is it's not just about being rah-rah for the sake of being rah-rah. It's about understanding that the encouragement and the motivation and support that I want to provide to people is about getting things done, right? So one of the things that's important is to understand I can come out here and I do usually just about every morning between 4:30 and 5. I get up, I do a walk and talk, and I look to encourage. I look to explain and to share with people, hey guys, the opportunities, if you're awake today and you can hear my voice today, the opportunities persist. If you want to see a better tomorrow, what we do today is going to lead to it. Forget about the things that happened yesterday that we no longer have the ability to affect. Learn the lessons from yesterday and let's move into our next day. Let's move into our next action. Let's move into our next thing, knowing that we have a purpose and an activity. So that is going to be important, right? The reason that's going to be super important is because if we understand how we are doing things today for our tomorrow, we'll stop lamenting about yesterday. We'll stop complaining or looking to make excuses for the areas where we didn't perform or we didn't succeed or we didn't show up in the way we wanted to, but we'll start to work on the next day. So Glavin, you say you're in Virginia, okay? Is that a question? What if yesterday nothing bad happened and we did improvement? So even with yesterday, and this is one of the things that I say to people, and this is why I say, hey, how you doing, my beautiful wife? So this is what I say to people, right? We want to learn to enjoy our life, right? Really, that's what life is about. It's about enjoying it, right? We can't go from one point to the next point and be like, oh, well, this was bad or that was bad, right? We have to learn to enjoy it. We have to learn to enjoy those moments, and we take those moments forward with us. If yesterday was great for you, and I hope you're still here, Glavinator, and I appreciate the question. If yesterday was great for you and you learned from it and you improved from it, then that's coming with you anyway, right? You don't have to think back about yesterday. You can hold on to it. And oftentimes we use those things from the past to share experiences to help others grow. For example, I just referenced me being a personal trainer. At the time when I was a personal trainer, I used my energy and my stories from my life when I was a young athlete and the experiences I had in my training process to help others in their training process. So we can hold on to those stories. I'm not saying to remove the experiences. I'm saying don't let yesterday define what you're doing today. So for so many of us, when we look back at yesterday, right? So if you look at, and let me know if you're still there, Glavinator, if we look at the people who they say peaked in high school, right? And it's like, oh, well, I peaked in high school and then, or I was a champion, I was a state champion quarterback or a state champion running back. Well, the principles and the things that we learn from playing sports are the things that are skills we can take with us forever. So I'm not going to always be able to use a crossover, but I will always be able to use the leadership skills that I learned, the camaraderie that I developed, the ability to speak to and associate with people. All of those things are things that I can take forward with me. Why is that important? Well, it's important because those lessons are used in the present, right? So if we learn to be leaders, if we learn to be resilient, if we learn to be consistent, if we learn repetition, we use those skill sets in the present to impact our future, right? So when I say we need to put tomorrow behind us, we need to forget about tomorrow, I'm saying whether yesterday was a great day or whether yesterday was a poor day, regardless of what the things that happened yesterday, we have to learn the lesson that in order for us to continue to grow, in order for us to go to the next space in our life, we're going to have to take the lessons from yesterday with us to use today to continue to build on our future. We have Imad Darkway. I'm racism. You are actually racism? Like, are you racism personified? Like, are you what racism is? Or, I don't know. I'm not sure we can talk much, Iman. I don't think you understand how to use that word. I don't think that means what you think it means. So guys, now, for those of you who are old enough to remember The Princess Bride, you might know that reference I just used. So what are we saying here, guys? All right, so what's important? So, well, what we're talking about today is starting to live our lives as a business. Again, not a new principle. Here's something that is a new principle. This started in 1977, right? So we're about 48 years ago. 48 years ago, the first LLC was created in the United States in Wyoming. So if that was established in 1977, right? That lets us know that there isn't a long time that people have been using LLCs as limited liability corporations to be able to protect themselves and protect their finances from those who would wish to, like the people who do the brake check, and they want to get you to run into them because you have a nice car and they want to try to get money from you, or people who would come onto your property and fall down and things like that. So LLCs were created specifically for people to be able to say, hey, I'm doing business. This place that I have is a place of business. I'm looking to make money off of it, but I'm also looking to protect myself. I don't want someone to come into my life and try to take everything away from me, right? Hey, Ryan, what's going on, bro? Good to see you in, man. And so how do we, so the LLC was created for the purposes of saying, hey, I'm not a corporation. I don't have hundreds or even thousands of employees. I don't have enough employees, and I'm not making finances to the point where I need to be a corporation. But I do want the protections that come with the sole proprietorship of being able to reduce my taxes while at the same time being able to have the protections of a corporation where I'm not losing all of my money. And so one of the things that's happening is you're learning how to, the LLC was developed in order to be able to protect us from those things. Life is changing. Keep in mind, it's young. As far as business structures go, LLCs are young, right? And so what are we starting to learn about LLCs, how we use them, and how they impact our life? Okay, so we're going to cover that in just a moment. I have a couple of comments I want to check in on. Galvanator, you said, I have a business where I clean houses, then use that money to buy items that people would like to buy. I sell it for $1, $1 more than what I bought it for, and then I repeat and get more money, buy more expensive. You're growing a business, right? So that's business structure, right? So if you can apply that to the business, you can apply it to your life as well, right? Because what you want to do is you want to continue to grow that business. And we're going to touch on that in just a moment. And I'm telling you that LLCs have changed. The structure and what the expectation of has changed, right? Jock, hey man, what's going on? Good to see you, Jock. Jaquez. I check you out, man. I'm checking you out. I'm watching you, bro. So Galvanator, expensive things and sell that for $2 extra or $1, depending on what it is. Right. And this is one of the things that I'm trying to share with you guys. Give me just a moment. So what does this mean to us, guys? What does it mean when making sure everyone's still there, can still see me? So what does this mean about life changing? What does this mean about the young LLC, the things that are different now about an LLC than they were before? Okay, well, I'll walk you through it. Or what are some of the new structures? LLC actually gives all people, including people who have W-2 employment, the opportunity to live their life and structure it as a business, right? Now, two major incentives of an LLC, and I hope you guys are still in here. If you are still in here, let me know. Jaquez, Galvin, anyone else who's still in here, guys, if you're still in here, I want you to answer for me if possible. What are the two major protections that you get with the LLC, right? There are two major protections. We're going to step inside for a moment. I do want to get myself something to drink. This lighting may change momentarily because I'm not in the sunlight, so it's probably not going to be nearly as bright in my kitchen as it is outside. Give me a moment. So what are some of the major benefits of just stepping into my kitchen? The two major benefits of an LLC, guys. What's our two major benefits of an LLC? All right, so waiting on you. I want to give you guys a moment to answer. Also, I want to give anyone new an opportunity as you come in. Go ahead, take a chance. Go ahead, take a moment and drop into the chat where you're checking in from, what time of day it is, where you are. So your two major benefits of your LLC are going to be the protection between yourself and anyone who would seek to come after your money, right? It puts it in a place where the business can have insurance and individuals can't just come after you and say, hey, you owe me money, right? So even if you have personal debt, it allows for you to separate it. So that's one thing, is that protection between your personal liabilities and your business liabilities. So that if you can put as many things as possible into your business's name, it separates those things out, right? The second thing that it's going to be beneficial for is taxes. Now, of those two things, which one makes you money? All right, we're starting to draw some things. We're starting to see how LLCs are being used differently. You have to understand the last two states to allow for LLCs to be written started in 1996, okay? So 29 years ago, and that's in most of our lifetimes, there were still states that didn't allow for LLCs to be written. There were two states that did not allow for LLCs to be established within their states until 2 years ago. So Glavinator said limit liability, management, flexibility, LLC tax benefits. The major one is going to be the tax benefits. And why is the major one going to be the tax benefits? Because next to your rent or your mortgage, your taxes are probably going to be your biggest yearly expense, right? Now, the protection is great to have. The LLC protection is great to have, but you have to understand the difference between offensive and defensive, right? A LLC to protect is a defensive move, right? That defensive move is essentially to say, hey, I have some things and I want to protect them from others, right? But we have to understand, how do we turn our protection into money? It's really hard to do. Like, how do we turn, when we go to sports, how do we turn defense into offense, right? So, like, how do we get this thing that's designed to prevent the other people from being successful to be successful? How do we get that to go from just being something that's there, something that's just on the field, something that's just sitting there? How do we turn that from a defensive thing to an offensive thing? How do we turn that into something in our favor that moves things or moves the needle in the way we want to do? And there are challenges with that. There are ways. Some people usually it's through litigation, and even with that, in order for it to become offensive, you still have to wait for someone to attack you first, right? So, in order to turn defense into offense, I love using football as an analogy. In order for you to turn defense into offense, you need the offense of the other team to make a mistake, and then you need to counteract that with immediate action, right? Otherwise, you're constantly sitting there on defense, right? We don't want to live life defensively. So even though a LLC does provide protection and a way to separate your money, your personal income from your business income, which is great, it is definitely the tax benefits that allow for you, that are one of the major benefits of having an LLC, and that you can actually make profit from, that you can grow, that you can take action. You can do things on a regular basis to allow for your tax benefits, or for the breaks that you get on your taxes to be profitable for you. Galvin, you said, what do you think the appropriate age is to start a business? The appropriate age to start a business on your own, I would say as soon as legally possible. So let's keep in, so a few things, right? We're going to go over a couple of things. What does your business do, right? How much support do you have? How large is your business going to be? So here's some things that I had to take note of some things that I think are very interesting in how different countries and different areas work, right? So we here in the United States are different than a lot of other countries. The United States has a tendency to place more restrictions on what young people can do than other countries do, right? So for example, and a lot of your Asian, a lot of your countries on the Asian continent, your young people are going to be at work very early in life. Not as, oh, well, you have to go off to work and do something, but as, hey, if you learn this skill, you can use it. You learn how to cook, you learn how to start a fire, you learn how to cut fruit, you learn how. The United States, we're a bit more restrictive. We're like, no, not yet, not yet, you're not ready. Like, the appropriate age to start a business is when you're able to run a business, when you're ready to make money. So what does that mean? That means that, one, you would love to have the protection and the guidance of someone who cares about you and loves you, like your parents or a mentor, be a part of that process. But as soon as you say, hey, I got this thing and I think this is going to be profitable, I want to start a business, start a business. Establishing an LLC may have some requirements in order for people of a certain age to be involved, but start your business. Now, here's the thing is, as soon as you start your business, you are now responsible for managing that business, right? That's why I say, I've been telling people recently, I've been sharing with people, you need to work on finding your genesis and stop looking for a genie. Stop looking for someone to be like, oh, well, I'm going to be, they gave me this great opportunity, or I'm going to win the lottery, or what would I do if I won the lottery, or what if I could just do this, or I could just get this job, or I could just do that. You're looking for a genie. You're looking for lightning in a bottle. You're looking for someone to say, okay, and this is what I mean about forget about yesterday. You're looking for someone to come in and say, okay, I get it. The last few years you made some mistakes. You have some debt. You say, but listen, we're going to wipe all of that out, and we're going to give you this opportunity now to do whatever you want to do. We're going to wipe all of that away, and we're simply going to say right now for you, it's going to be completely different. And so we're going to give you a start over. So we're going to wipe away all your debt. We're going to give you this money. And now that you have this knowledge, you can move forward. That's the same thing when people ask the question, oh, well, if you could have changed one thing 20 years ago, what it would have been? Well, yeah, you're looking backwards. You're saying 20 years ago, if I knew then what I know now, where would I be? I would be 20 years ahead of where I am now at a minimum. But the thing that we're looking at, and when you talk about what's the appropriate age to start a business, the appropriate age to start a business is when you are ready, right? So that's important. I think, and that's super important because you want to make sure you have the right people there to support you and ensure you're doing this thing the right way. Galvanator, is it okay that I'm 11 and I have my own business to myself that's not worldwide? That's phenomenal that you're 11 and you have a business of your own that's not worldwide. I think that you're in the right place. You've already have the understanding. And so what business is, right? And so you have to be careful of how people define businesses. Now, some people define business as creating a problem and selling a solution. You're not doing that. You're doing something different. You've identified someone's problems and you're simply offering the solutions. Most good businesses work in that way. Most of your good businesses are not going to be businesses that are creating problems for you, right? And this is a millionaire mindset. I don't have to create a problem for you. I just have to see a space that needs attention. And that attention is not being applied. That attention is not being addressed. And then I need to simply say to people, hey, I have a way to support you, right? So for example, most things are on subscriptions now. So after things have been on subscriptions for a while, and one of the people who were really great at starting it were the brothers who started Planet Fitness. There were two brothers who majored in college in marketing, and I can't remember their names, but I was a personal trainer at the time. And one of the things that they did is they said that they did some marketing, they did some research, and they said, how much money can a person lose? How much money can a person lose every month and not notice it? Like, how much money do you think you lose every month without even seeing it? And they found out that the perfect price point was right around 10 bucks. And so they started their memberships at $9.99. And then they built gyms, and they don't care whether or not you can make it to the gym or not. But they understand if we take $10 a month from you instead of $55, instead of $20, instead of $19.99, if we just take $10 a month from you, you'll never look at it. You won't notice that it's gone, right? And so you'll sign up for this membership and it'll auto renew and we'll get $10 a month from you for years. And so now what happened? A whole bunch of other subscriptions came out at $10 a month, $5 a month, $4 a month. And then as these subscriptions started to come out, people got a whole bunch of them that they weren't paying attention to. And so now you have apps that are making money by selling you a subscription to take for their services to cancel your other unused subscriptions, right? So that's a situation where you allowed for humanity to create the need and then you sold them the support to fix that need or that space that they created. But what I really want to focus on and what I really want to talk about today is how to turn your life into an LLC, how to manage your life like a business. Galvanator, you're 11, you're saying, hey, Glavinator, you're saying, hey, I'm starting a business. I buy things, I clean houses, I buy things, I sell them for $1 more. I'm just looking to make a buck off of everything I move. Right, that's a good place to start. You're gonna learn, you've already learned the process of being able to buy low and sell high, right? And you're gonna start to turn that into more money, you reinvest it, those things start to continue to grow for you. Then there are going to be some other levels of things. You're going to start to bring people on. Okay, well, how much money can I make if I have a friend of mine clean houses as well? And then I pay them a portion for cleaning the house and I keep a portion. And so now they're making money, I'm making money, and I'm able to make more money from that money. Businesses grow in that way. Well, what does this mean, right? Well, when you say you want to live your life like a business, you can't live in chaos, right? You shouldn't have, there should not be, and there's a development structure that is required. No adult should have a day where someone says, what are you doing today? And you say, I don't know. If you want to truly structure your life like a business, if your day is a rest and relaxation day, say that. My day is today is my day for rest and relaxation. And I'm managing it this way. I've set aside this much time for me to read. I've set aside this much time for me to just sit outside. I've set about this much time for me to spend with my wife. Because even on days when you're doing nothing, applying structure to those days changes how you walk throughout your life. And the reason that I mentioned the LLC and living your life like a business is because so many of us go nowhere because we have no structure. And so we find ourselves constantly being busy without being productive. There has to be a change in the way we do this. And we have to start to structure our lives with discipline. Because when we go to work, we have people who can share with us what the expectation is for us to do. We need to be able to do the same thing, right? So we need to be able to have a daily schedule. We need to be able to know, hey, this is what time I get up. This is how much time I spend on my hygiene. This is how much time I spend reading. This is how much time I spend doing this. This is how much time I spend on this thing. This time needs to be accounted for. And the reason the time needs to be accounted for is because once you start to have structure, now you can have self-accountability. You can't have self-accountability without structure. You can't have self-accountability. You can't have any accountability if there are no expectations. The first thing that needs to be set in order for someone to say we have expectations is, in order for someone to say I'm going to hold you accountable, they must first set an expectation. I've worked at a number of different companies, and in these companies, I've worked in positions of management where I'm understanding that I apologize for that. So it is impossible for me to go to anyone who's in a company that I'm leading as a manager and say, hey, I'm going to require this of you, or I'm going to hold you accountable for this thing. And they say, you never told me about it, right? Companies have a responsibility to provide the leadership, the guidance, to provide the information and the tools necessary in order to be able to achieve tasks, right? And so let's take a moment and think about it, right? Let's take a moment and look at all of the things that are going to be important for us to design our life around a business. First, we have to have a mission statement. What do we want to do with our life? We have to understand that we're paying it into the future. And so even if the ultimate thing, understanding and paying it into the future, is we have to understand where we're going. When we pay ourselves, we're paying into our future. As we pay into our future, as we grow, we become stronger, and it gives us the ability to add on more things. It gives us the ability to provide more for ourselves and more for others. We can sit around and we can lament and we can complain, or we can get to work. Once we provide structure, once we have an expectation, now we can be self-aware and self-accountable. But here's the thing, if we can't lead ourselves, we can't be expected to lead others. I don't know how many people who are listening to this right now have ever worked for a company where they moved up into upper management. When you move into upper management and you go into handling money for companies, they run your credit. And they run your credit for a reason, because if you can't handle your money, if you can't manage your own money that is responsible for taking care of your life, why would I let you touch mine? Why would I turn my money over to you, my store, my business, my future, my purpose? Why would I put this into my hands if you can't handle your own? This isn't a direction that we're going to go as a company. This isn't something that we're going to do as a behavior process. And this is important because so many of us are out here and we're looking for opportunities and we haven't done the work on ourselves. I'm telling you, start with yourself. Let's start with ourselves. Let's start by managing our money, managing our funds, managing our debts, managing our accountability, doing the things that we need to do. And I'm telling you, as a person who is here and is on a journey with you, this is why I come on and I have these conversations. We can all have these great dreams and principles and these ideas that we want to live by, these great thoughts and these great structures that we believe are going to be beneficial to us and help us to grow businesses, help us to help others. We can have all of the dreams in the world, but what we must have is we must have the awareness and the accountability to hold ourselves to at least the minimum standard of that. And in order to be able to hold ourselves to the minimum standard of it, we have to create a standard. We have to create a standard, and that standard needs to be designed towards growth. This is what I encourage you to do. So let's talk about some specifics. Okay, here's some easy specifics to do. This is why I created the 2DS. The 2DS is the discipline dividend strategy, and what it does specifically is it teaches you how to develop discipline and then use that discipline in any area of your life to see growth. It's got 4 parts. It's going to have repetition, It's going to have patience, it's going to have consistency, and it's going to have perseverance. First step, repetition. If we want to do anything that's going to allow us to structure our life like a business, we have to have a open and close time of business. Even if it's 24 hours. Taco Bell is 24 hours, but they have open and close activities that have to be done. If you want to run your life like a business, if you really want to take control of your life and you want to really enjoy your time, you're going to find out by managing your time, you're getting more time back. The first thing that you have to figure out is how much of my life am I going to live? We need sleep, we need to rest, we need to recover, but we have to figure out how much of my life am I actually going to live. So while we're going through this process, of trying to move forward and do the things that we need to do, I've already answered that question. While we're going through the process and we're trying to understand the right way to live and the right things to do, part of that process is going to require for us to set this standard. What is my operating? What are my business hours? There is this movie that I love. It's called The Five Heartbeats, and in the movie there is this character who is a record producer, and he's stealing money from his artists. And one of the artists gets mad and comes into his office, and you're like, I need to talk to you. But here's the funny thing that happened is the gentleman went to talk to him, and he was like, okay, hey, what's the problem, man? And he's like, well, you're stealing my money, and the guy says to him, he says, listen, my business hours are from 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. And the dude starts cursing. I'm yelling, I don't care about it. Quick cut. It's the record producer holding this guy over the edge of a balcony, and the guy's begging, please don't drop me, please don't drop me. And he says something threatening to him. And then he says, what are my business hours? And the guy's like, 9 to 5, 9 to 5. Your business hours are 9 to 5. If you don't set a structure for your business hours, you are opening yourself up to people coming to you at any time with anything that's not appropriate for the time that you're in at that moment. And it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter what type of work you do. It doesn't matter how much free time you want. If the purpose is in, you understand that your life is your purpose, right? This is conversations. My wife and I, we have 7 young children. The oldest will be turning 16 this month. The youngest is currently 2. And so we have 3 children who have birthdays, 4 children who have birthdays this month, and then my wife's birthday is this month. And one of the things that we have to keep in mind, and one of the things that I'm sharing with my children even right now, is you need to understand that growth, you need to understand that development and the journey is to be enjoyed. If you wake up any day of your life and you go into it and they're like, hey, what do you have to say thank you for? What are you grateful for? What do you appreciate? And you have to sit there and go, you're not enjoying the journey. But this is part of what treating your life like a business does for you, is you break down segments of your day to do specific things. And if nothing else, it's going to start to bring to you the gratification, the satisfaction of doing those things in that time. So when someone says, hey man, what are you thankful about? Dude, I had a whole schedule. I had a full schedule yesterday. I knocked it off. I had a full schedule yesterday. I was able to complete 5 of the 7 tasks that I had. The other 2 tasks I was able to manage appropriately. I was able to spend time with my family and the time that was like, you see, like being able to structure what needs to be done gives you ability to live in that, to have those expectations and then enjoy the benefits of completing those expectations. We cannot move into a space where we say we are truly, truly appreciative of the things that are going on and the things that we're doing in our life if we have not taken the time to establish the value of those. So Glavinator, you said, question, is it okay that I take 25% of my money I make out of my business and use that for my money to buy stuff for me, and the 75% of the money is for my business? Yeah, you're just cutting yourself a paycheck. Yeah, that's no big deal. You're not formed as an LLC yet. You're 11 years old. You already have the structure in your mind of how things should be working. Excuse me. As you grow, you'll start to do more. Who are some of the people that you watch on YouTube in order to get advice and guidance from, Glavinator? Let me know that. Let me know who some of the people are that you watch, that you get information from to help you, like, set the structure and guide you and motivate you in what you're doing. And so, guys, we need to create a schedule. I'm speaking to a lot of people, young adults, young entrepreneurs, all of these people. If you've even older adults, if you're in your 50s and 60s, and you're like, man, I had a business when I was young, and I got these properties, or man, I had a business and I did this and I did that, man, but I'm done with that. I'm tired of it. I'm ready to move on. Then you say at that point, it's like, okay, well, hire someone. Your business doesn't have to stop. You don't have to stop making money because you stop working. If you stop working, when you stop working, if that means you stop making money, you don't have a business. You have a job. It's hard for people to understand that difference because for many generations we were taught that we had to work hard. I'm going to encourage you to take a moment and look at it, people. If you get to 60 years old, 50 years old, and you're passing or you're moving out of the business and you want to spend your time relaxing, and you don't have someone in your family who wants to take ownership of the business or take it over, it doesn't mean it needs to die. Do the study, figure out what a trust is, understand how to hire others, because there are people who want jobs, who are looking. There's someone young looking to do what you do. It doesn't have to be your children. Just because your children aren't doing it doesn't mean that it can't be done, and it doesn't mean that it can't benefit them. That's what's important. And this is why we do the work. We have to start to structure our lives like a business. Now, I understand the LLC is designed to separate you from your business, but it is your legacy. So how do we pass that legacy on? We need to also view ourselves as a business. Okay, where's this business going? What is this business going to do? And I don't have to always be active in business in order to make money from it. The best thing to do with a business is to develop it in such a way so that when you are not working, and this is what it means to put your money to work for you. When you are not working, your business is still making money. Help me. I don't chat a lot in the lives, but today I just had questions. So my recommendation, go out. There's a gentleman, Dan Martell. He does a great job motivating young men. Look at some of his stuff, grab some of his books. Definitely fill out on this page. If you go to my homepage, you'll see in the description section, there is a link to get the free discipline dividend strategy. You can fill that form out. We'll make sure we send it out to you so you get your own copy of the discipline dividend. It's going to walk you through the structures and behaviors to continue to grow your business and continue to do the work that you're doing, along with making sure that as you grow your business and you start to structure it, that you understand the things that I've been sharing here and start to manage your time. Start to create expectations for yourself, create expectations for your finances. And if you're starting to make money, you're going to need to start to track it, right? So there's going to be some work for you to do, or you can pass that work off to others. Now, if you find yourself in a position where you're making about $500 and $600 a month or more in terms of what the business is making, and so if you're making $500 and then you're taking 25% of that, you're making $125 a month. Or if you're making $5,000, then you're taking yourself 25% of that, you're making $1,250 a month or something like that. If that's what you're doing and you're earning at that pace, if you're doing about $5,000 a month, what you need to do is you need to go hire yourself a tax attorney, and you need to formulate an LLC, and you need to open 2 separate bank accounts in order to be able to do that work. Either work with your parents or another adult mentor because there are going to be some restrictions as to what you can do because your age is 11. But definitely start to do that work. Then when you're doing that, being in Winchester, Virginia, I think formulating an LLC in Virginia is about $300 a month. I slay. Okay, so you're making, did I say you make about 260 a month? It looks like you're about to adjust that. You have to put a different number in there. So whatever your number is that you're making, definitely go and bring on people, because at this point, usually make about $250 a day. So if you're making $250 a day in sales, are you working 7 days a week? Because if you're working 7 days a week, you're making about $1,750 a week in sales, and you're going to need to manage that. If you're making $1,750 a week in sales, these are rough numbers off the top of my head. That's going to give you about $3,500 every 2 weeks. That's going to put you about $7,000 a month. $7,000 a month is going to put you, so you don't work on weekends, so that means you're making $1,250 a week. That means you're making $1,500 every two. That's $3,000 a month. That's going to come in somewhere around $36,000 a year. You definitely need to formulate an LLC, open a business bank account, hire some more people, and scale your business. You're at that space. You're already there. You already have the system in place. What you need to do is work with someone on identifying how to structure that system, and have it appropriate for the people to work with. You can also see my email. I'd be happy to help you in getting in contact with the appropriate people, and then structuring your handbook for the people who are going to go to work for you. You are at this point at 11 years old. Do you need $30,000 a year? If you don't, then start growing your business. You're at the point now where if you're working 5 days a week, you're making about $250 a day in revenue. You can continue to work 5 days a week, but if you have 3 people working for you and you can teach them to generate that same, about on average $250 a day in revenue, you can pay each one of them roughly $75 to $100 a day to do that for you, and exponentially increase the amount of money you make. So you're ready to move from making $250 a day into a space where if you're paying them $75 a day, you're bringing home 175 times 3, that's 150, that's 225 plus 3, you're bringing home about $525 a day. It significantly changes everything. I have my friends to hire. I only have one other person that works with me. When I get more people to invest in my business, I can buy more expensive stuff to sell. So right now, I don't think you need to look for investors, because you have to understand that the business is the system, right? Like, you're not the only person who's buying low and selling high, right? But what you've done is you found the system. You found a method that works and generates a specific return on a regular basis, right? And so what you want to start to do, and Gary Vee is another great person to follow, both on YouTube and other social media platforms, is GarYvee. Gary Vee will let you know that what a lot of companies do, what a lot of businesses do, is they get so enamored with making all of the money that they don't look for the opportunity to get bigger by letting other people make money. So right now, the most valuable thing you have is your system, right? Because you're not the only person doing it, right? You understand that you're not the only person who's cleaning houses. You're not the only person who's buying low and selling high. You're not the only person who's doing that, but you're doing it at 11 years old, right? So now, how do I take this system and how do I structure this system? Is your mom or dad involved in helping you in any way? Are they available to assist you? Well, what I mean by invest is more people to hire me to clean their houses, right? So that's bringing on clients. That's a different space, which is why. So what you can do, send me an email. I'm going to sit down so we can have a Zoom face call. I'm going to go over some things with you. We're going to take a look at your structure, As I said before, you go to the website. When you go into more, you're going to see there's a little area where you can see where it'll say show email. When you click that, you'll see my email. Send me an email there. Let me know who you are. Share who you are. I can set it up for us to have a Zoom call. We can get something scheduled, and then I can kind of walk you through the specifics of what the next steps are going to be. We can kind of figure out how to get you to the next space. If you can ask, if you have mom, dad, uncle, anyone who's there to assist, there's some pretty simple things that can be done to help you kind of continue to grow your business. One of the things that I had to learn when I was a young man, some of the things that I'm still kind of learning and working on now, is understanding the difference between the system and the work, right? So a lot of people clean houses. A lot of people do pawn or do thrifting. One of the things that you're looking at is that you figured out a system that allows for you to make a continued return. So now you need to be able to do sales, because people don't necessarily need to live near where you live in order for you to have a house cleaning business. They just need their house cleaned, right? So I think you said that you were in Winchester, so there's no difference between you, because if someone else is going to do it, literally what you've done at this point is you've created yet another revenue stream by calling people or finding people in other areas, even just inside of Virginia, in areas like Northern Virginia. You have Alexandria, you have Woodbridge, or you have places like that where there are people who clean houses and they're looking for clients too. So if you have the ability to speak to and bring on the clients, you can then sell that job to someone else. You can say, hey, I have a client who wants to do this. Here's what I offer. I would like to partnership with you, and here's how we're going to split that revenue, right? So that's a completely different thing. That's sales. So, but you're looking at it the right way. You're taking the right approach. And what I'm trying to say, and what we're talking about here today in today's live, is how do we do this? How do we make sure that we apply this to our life as well, right? Because Glavinator, right now, what you're doing is your current approach is you have a job, right? And you have a job that's paying you fairly well to be 11 years old, right? You're taking 25% out of a daily 250 in sales. That means that you're pulling out about, what's that? $65 a day, something like that. So every 10 days, you're pulling out about $650, which is about $1,200 to $1,300 a month, which is a great way for you to be able to grow your business. If you don't need $1,300 a month, definitely reinvest it into platforms and structures. You can hire people to make the calls. Like, you don't even have to make the calls. You can hire people and say, hey, I have a business that does cleaning and I want to bring on more business. I want to bring on more clients. Here, how much is it going to cost for me, for you to make these calls for me and set up the system for me where it comes back to me and all I have to do is send people out to clean. And so if you want to bring on more clients, definitely don't take $1,350 a month out of the business if you don't need it to live. Reinvest that into those platforms and then let that grow your business, right? Because if you can set up a program, or you can purchase a system, or purchase the assistance, and understand that and these aren't very expensive. Some of these programs maybe run you about $250 a month or something like that. But if at $250 a month, it brings you on 5 new clients a month, right? At $200 a month, that's $1,000. You're making back $750 a month by investing that into it. And now you can continue to grow your business, and you can continue to take that money and buy your items, more expensive items, bigger items, and sell them at a different cost, at a higher return. So great way to be able to do it, right? So now, guys, what are we talking about today? We're talking today about being able to understand how to structure your life as a business, how to live your life as a business. And one of the big things to do to live your life as a business, as I said before, is first and foremost, you need to have a mission statement. You need to know what it is that you're trying to achieve. You need to know what your purpose is. Then once you have your purpose, you need to understand how to structure your time. How many days a week are you going to work? Like Glavinator, I'm working 5 days a week. The weekend I'm not working. What are we doing on the weekend? We're going to use our time on the weekend. We're not going to just not work on the weekend. We need to structure that time as well. I'm going to spend 4 hours doing this. I'm going to spend 2 hours here. I have a business, I have a trip, or I have a business meeting, or I have activities that I want to do. I want to read. I want to, like, whatever it is you want to do, you need to start to structure that time so that as you use that time, it's completed. Here's the other thing it does for you. When you write down a schedule for yourself and you start checking things off of that schedule, it gives you a dopamine hit. That dopamine hit is like, it's the type of drug that makes you feel like you can do anything. It gives you such a large return that it excites you about the next challenge, not about the next completed task, right? When you complete a task, like you write a list of things that need to be done, and every time you check something off of that list, it doesn't get you excited about checking the next thing off. It gets you excited about getting started on the next thing that you're going to check off. That's important. And this is what businesses do. This is how businesses write schedules. Because when a business checks something off, or when a business has a structure and it says, I want to do these things, and then it checks off, we did that thing, we got that thing done. Let's move on to the next thing. It's not, that next thing may not be finished for 10 years. It may not be finished for quite a while, but the energy and the excitement about, man, we're moving into the next stage of the next 10 years of work. You're excited about getting to that next stage. That's what happens when you write a list and you say, I'm preparing a series of steps that are going to help me get to a certain point and achieve a specific goal. When you write that list and then you start to check the things off of that list in your day, and as you're checking those things off, everything you check off gets you excited about getting started on the next thing. And that's super important, guys, because that's what it means to manage your life like a business. I want to thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate you. Thank you, Glavinator, for the questions. Remember, guys, as you stop in, and this is our While We Work check-in. As you stop in, guys, please take a moment. Let me know where you're checking in from, what time of day it is. Let me know what's on your mind, what you guys are working on. Do you have any specific objectives that you're trying to achieve or trying to do? Sorry, I have to go. I'll be back. Not a problem, man. Go get your work done. It was a pleasure having you here, Glavinator. Don't forget to shoot me that email so we can get connected. And so, what do we really know about our own personal development and our growth? What are we really prepared to commit to? What are we really prepared to say, hey, this is who I am, this is who I'm going to be, and this is how I'm going to work? We all have an understanding that we have responsibilities for ourselves. The question is, where are you ready to live? Like, how much work are you really ready to do? How much of it are you prepared to do, or how much are you just saying you're ready to do, right? So let's think for a few moments, guys. I'm gonna take you with me. I'm gonna head out for a short walk. If we're saying that we're interested in doing any number of things, right? If we have an interest in doing any number of things, in order for us to be able to start to accomplish or achieve those tasks that we have ahead of us, what do we have to do? Hey, baby, how you doing, sweetheart? What do we have to do when we say, hey, I have tasks or I have things that I want to do for myself? I want to be a certain way, or I want to live a certain way. I want to achieve certain things. Well, what we have to do is we have to start to come to the realization, in order to be able to do it, we're going to need to have to do it, right? It's work we're going to have to do, not work that we're waiting for someone else to do, not work that we're hoping that somebody else will do for us. It's our work. It's what we have to do. Yes, indeed. So that's going to be a way for us to always understand how to get to our next point. And so this whole conversation today, everything that we've talked about today, guys, I want to thank you again for being here. Our whole conversation is how to convert our life into a business, how to start to use the business principles necessary in order for us to be able to achieve and grow as a business. And I'll let you know right now, the way to be able to do it, guys, is to organize to understand what needs to be done and to start to do it. As always, guys, thanks you for being here. Thank you for being a part, and God bless. Have a great day.